Marriage Matters. It's Kenyatta from Atlanta Couple Therapy and for another Facebook Live. Today, I'm talking with you guys about how to safeguard your relationship and the 3 strategies that every couple should know in order to make this a reality. So, I wanted to start with kind of letting you guys know the definition of safeguard, right? According to the dictionary, safeguard is a measure taken to protect someone or prevent something undesirable from happening. So when I think about a relationship is like a house. It needs to be protected, it needs to have insurance, it needs to have regular updates to it. Another way in which people can protect their relationship is by being preventative and incorporating things that are going to make the marriage or relationship strong, right? So when I'm thinking of preventing something undesirable from happening, I'm thinking of the worst case scenarios. You and your mate drift apart, you and your mate decide that the relationship is not worth building into, so you guys maybe withdraw or stonewall each other, or other more undesirable things like you guys decide to split up or you guys decide to ultimately divorce, right? So, in order to protect your relationship from some of these things, I want to talk about 3 different things that you can do to begin to put a guard around your relationship and to ensure that it's healthy, it's strong, and that ultimately you and your mate have a relationship that you can build on. So, number 1 is talk some and listen always. My father used to say to me, "You got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So, listen more sometimes than you speak because your head may be going, you may be thinking that you want to say whatever's on your mind, and you're ultimately not listening." So, this is a lesson that I had to learn very early, and it popped up in a lot of my relationships as well. Am I listening to this person or am I just wanting to talk? So ask yourself that the next time you and your mate are having a serious conversation or just talking about each other's day. How much are you truly taking in and listening to them? So be sure to create an environment that allows your mate to come to you about the things that are bothering them, that are on their mind, where they can feel like they can be vulnerable. So ask yourself, am I my mate's safe space? This is even something that you can ask them. Do you feel safe talking to me about your inner thoughts and feelings? They may say yes, but maybe you can challenge that if you're noticing that they're not. You may ask yourself, why don't you talk to me about your day? Or why don't we talk more about the things that are going on the inside of us, right? Ask yourself, do they feel like they can talk to me about anything? Or am I hard to talk to? Like the last time that your mate came to you to discuss something, how did that discussion go? Were you open? Did you guys get to a place where you felt closer, or did you ultimately argue? So asking yourself truly, are you a safe space for your mate to talk to you about the things that are maybe bothering them, whether it's related to the relationship or outside? So avoid talking over your mate. These are some of the strategies that can help you talk some and listen more. So if you find that you're talking over your mate, you're clearly not listening to them. So begin to take the precautions, the preventative measures to ensure that you're not talking over them. You're allowing them all of their time to say what it is that they need to say. Right? It's not about what you perceived, it's about what they said. So many times in counseling, I'll ask one of the partners, so what did you hear your mate say? And they'll say, well, they said, or what I'm feeling like, or what they feel like is this. And I'm like, that's what you perceive, but what did you actually hear them say? Sometimes it's important for us to slow down and say, okay, you know what, this is my perception of what you're saying, but ultimately what this is what you're ultimately saying. Think of your ears as having filters on them. So sometimes your mate may say something to you and you're thinking whatever your thoughts are, when ultimately they really just meant that carrots are orange. But you got your own perceptions about what it is that they said because of everything in the past that has led up to this point. So ask yourself, are you truly listening to your mate? And then the last one is listen with both ears wide open. So this means not being distracted, truly tuning into what it is that your mate is saying, giving them your undivided attention if possible, and ultimately asking questions, reflecting back to them the things that they have said. So you know it's different when you're kind of listening to somebody, but you're kind of got your own static going on in your head. Practice making a place where there's very little static and you're in tune with your mate. This can look like having a certain type of body language. So looking them in their eyes or turning towards them or touching them, holding their hand when tough conversations come up, but truly listening to what your mate has to say. All right. Number 1, talk some and listen always. All right. Number 2 is focus more on meeting each other's needs. So oftentimes when couples come to counseling, they think, oh, well, we have all these problems and all these things going on and we don't know what to do. Very typical, very understandable. But sometimes I feel that the couples that I'm working with have completely just forgotten or disregarded what they need and what their mate needs. Ultimately, what they're thinking about is how unhappy they are and how they've been unhappy for all this time and how they've wasted all this time. So many things are going on within a person that decides that they need to come to couples counseling, that they're not even in tune with what they need, or they haven't listened to what their mate needs, which is ultimately could be why they're not getting their needs met. So instead of blaming one another for what they aren't doing or what they are doing, focus on solutions. So if you find that you and your mate are arguing a lot about him taking out the trash, maybe creating a solution around that. All right, so I'm gonna, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna remind you to take out the trash, or I'm gonna help you by putting the trash near the door so that you can just take it outside. Instead of being so quick to say what they're not doing, how they're not taking you out on dates, how you guys don't do anything fun, how they continue to be on their phone every time that they're with you, create solutions around it. So for the phone thing, right? You could say to your mate, all right, so we're gonna have, how about we just have 2 hours watching a movie with no phones? And see what they say, versus complaining to them about the fact that you never get any time with them. Think about the solutions. Also, write down these questions that you could potentially ask your mate to open up the communication around meeting each other's needs. These are the 3. What do you need from me? Could you do this for me? And this is whatever need that is most present right now. And then honestly get their feedback about whether or not this is something that they can do. And don't villainize them if they say that they can't. Ask them maybe more questions, get more information about why this is hard for them. And then 3 is, what solutions make sense for us? Because then you're coming to your partner as if you are a team, which you should be, and that you are willing to work with them to find a solution that works best for the both of you, right? Which should be your goals at all points. A lot of times couples are really focused on choosing and doing things my way because my way is best, versus this is a partnership, so we have to come together to find some common ground. The last tip that I have for you guys related to safeguarding your relationship is choosing your circles wisely. I find that some of my couples have all of these things going on, they're doing all the right things, but ultimately they don't have a positive circle around them. So ultimately it drains the life out of the relationship. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this. So imagine you and your mate get into an argument. You guys don't have a counselor that you can schedule an appointment with. So you go to the people that are most accessible, your friends or your family, your coworker, whoever you talk to about your relationship that is outside of your mate. Does this person, is this a wise choice to talk to this person? So sometimes I'll see people that they'll go to people in their circle about their relationship, and these people also communicate poorly. These people rarely hold that person accountable for their actions. These people don't ask questions, but they just give advice. So imagine you're speaking with someone and they also have issues with listening and taking accountability and, talking to their mate properly. Why is this someone that you would go to vent to about your relationship if they struggle with the same things? Unless you guys are working together to improve in this area. But for the most part, if they haven't acknowledged that they also communicate poorly, they're abusive, they're manipulative, why is this someone that you imagine that you can speak to about your relationship? Also, is this a person who holds you accountable for the things that you did? Are they the ones that's like, well, no, Kenyatta, you was wrong for this? I like those friends that'll tell me, okay, no, I get their point of view and I get your point of view about you being upset about it, but ultimately you need to work on this, or you communicated poorly in that way, or they may have felt this way. Ultimately, this person is getting me to a place where I'm seeing it from another perspective that I probably couldn't see it with the person that I was in conflict with. So is this person holding you accountable for your own stuff? And if they're not, then they are ultimately just allowing you to have a space, right? They're enabling you. And they may be being on your side because of their own issues that they hold true to. And then lastly, if you come to someone about an argument, right, and they're quick to give you advice versus them asking questions like, well, what did your mate say about it? Or what was their demeanor and how did you come off? They don't have a lot of details about even how the argument went or what went on. All they know is that you're upset, and rightfully so, they're part of your circle, so they want to protect you. You're upset, you feel like you've been done wrong, so they're going to join in you and say, yeah, you have been done wrong, versus asking the critical questions that a therapist would ask to get more information about what created this chaos. Your friends and your family typically aren't therapists, right? Maybe they are. It's different if you're going to somebody that is a therapist, that's a friend, but then that's still different because they're not hired to work with you. And they shouldn't be. They shouldn't necessarily be expected to give you advice that is sound and advice that's ultimately going to serve you. They're a part of your support system, and I'm happy that you have one. But Is it wise to talk to them about your relationship? Do they support your relationship wholeheartedly? And do they hold you accountable? And are they ultimately in the same boat as you are, communicating poorly with their wife? So those are things that I want you guys to keep in mind. Choosing your circles wisely, focus on meeting each other's needs. So be more focused about the solutions and talk some, but listen always, right? So these are the 3 things that I want you guys to make sure that you're doing to safeguard your relationship this year. And we are safeguarding our relationships from, things just feeling like, oh, we're being roommates, or we're not connected anymore, or we have no intimacy. And then ultimately, the main thing that we're wanting to avoid is separation or divorce. There's some things that you can begin to do to build up your relationship house to where that doesn't end you ultimately, right? All right, guys. So I did speak a little bit about being roommates and feeling like, oh, you and your mate aren't connected anymore. If that resonated to you and that sounded like something like, you know what, Kenyatta, we are struggling with that. And we've been in this routine for so long, I don't even know where our relationship is going or where our marriage is going at this time. Sometimes I think about divorce. Sometimes I think about leaving this person, honestly and truthfully. I mean, this Facebook group is great and these couples celebrating their anniversary is very cute, but I'm in here struggling with my relationship. If you found that this is something that is happening for you, I want to invite you to do something about it. We're having a webinar March 10th. It's hosted by Dr. Laura Lewis. She's our CEO, and ultimately the person who taught me a lot about relationships, taught me a lot about myself. And she has a great presentation on how to re-energize your relationship, how to love your mate better, how to get to a place where date nights are normal, right? Or talking about your thoughts and feelings doesn't feel like such a scary place to be. She's going to be going over 5 different ways that you can begin to implement and improve your relationship. And even for those couples out there that are doing well, this is a great way to safeguard your relationship. So you got these good habits, why not learn some more? So it's happening March 10th, and it's happening in the evening. I'm going to put the details about it in the comments so that you can attend. It's a very low cost webinar, and I really think that you guys should attend, check it out, visit with us, get your questions answered about your relationship, and ultimately get more familiar with our community and the things that we're teaching over at Atlanta Couple Therapy. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be in touch soon. Bye.